Hello, hello, and welcome back to Minotaur Hotel. I think I'm gonna split the team. See what I get for doing exploration. I don't know, guys. It is what it is. And when you poke your head into the lounge looking for the blue dragon, you find him sitting at a table with one of the guests. A thin, middle-aged man in a shabby suit and hat, with stress wrinkled on his face and flecks of gray showing in his beard. Over the music that fills the lounge's air, you're able to catch a few snippets of the conversation. Don't sound familiar, sorry to say.
I see. I suppose it was a long shot. If you don't mind me taking a longer one, have you ever considered this may sound silly, but have you ever met a man in possession of such a sword, either of Japanese descent or perhaps one who looks similar to me?
The guest lets out a good-natured laugh at the question. No, I can't say I've ever met a sword-wielding dragon from Japan. I didn't even know people like you were real until I came here.
Indeed. Ah, well, I had to ask regardless.
If you want, I could keep an ear out to see if any of those names come up once I get out of here.
That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
The man pulls a business card out of his worn wallet and then slides it over to the dragon. Koda accepts the offering with a bow, belly pressed into the table as he leans forward and holds it tight in his clawed grasp.
I'll leave you be for now, then. If you need anything, I'm sure our gracious host would be happy to provide.
Sure, and thank you too. Koda rises to his feet, gives his conversational partner one last bow, and then turns away. Then he catches your eye. The dragon gives you a small smile and makes his way over.
Mr. Josh, hello! I trust the day is treating you well.
It is, thank you. Just taking a break. If you have a moment to hang out.
For you, anytime.
With a small gesture, he leads you over to an unoccupied table. You take your seats across from one another, settling in.
So, indeed, in hearing one more of this old vagrant's wanderings, are you?
Actually, if you don't mind, I was curious about what you were talking about over there. I don't mean to pry or eavesdrop, yes you do, but I couldn't help overhearing. A sword-wielding dragon, huh?
Huh, well. The sword I was speaking about is more of an ornamental one. It was forged in the village near our home.
You and your brother, right? Onsen? I think you said his name is.
That is correct. He was a bright and warm soul, who often joined the local samurai in their battles. And quite often in their leisures as well. My shrine's sake was very popular among the men, if you don't mind a little bragging. And he'd often serve it well while they rested their bodies in a nearby hot spring.
I see. If he was a samurai, I guess it only makes sense for him to have a sword, even an ornamental one. So, is it him you're trying to find then?
Indeed.
And by tracking down that sword of his, you hope to track him down too.
Well,
he tapes the tabletop with his claw a few times.
It is unfortunate. One of the only leads I have to go on.
Well, could you tell me a little more about Onsen? Who knows, maybe I ran into him and didn't even know. If he had a charm, then it's possible, right? Kota's brow furrows. One of his fangs catches on his lip, then gives the tabletop another brief tap.
I don't think he... although it may be possible.
You never know, right? Come on, indulge me.
All right. Well, he was quite the lively person. In truth, Luke does remind me vaguely of him. Very vaguely. Onsen at least had an ounce of discretion. Though he did love his sake.
Well, maybe I'll turn up the volume a little bit. Kind of had that a little low. Sorry.
Both partaking and sharing it with fellow samurai. There was one time when he had far too much. Although, that's probably a story for another time. Anyway, though his arm was strong, his heart was kind. He took up his sword not for the love of battle, but for the love of his people. Especially the children. Oh, you should have seen him, Mr. Josh. Whenever we would visit one of the villages, every child would have a turn riding upon his shoulders. He laughed like his laughter was like a waterfall, free-flowing. He'd display his might with pride, along with every scar he earned upon the battlefield. And even when he'd take on human disguises, he had the most striking blue eyes, a body honed into a fine form.
That's quite a description, Kota. The dragon blinks, with sudden awareness of his surroundings. He couldn't help but notice a faint blush dusting the scales of his snout.
Oh, forgive me, when I think about those days.
He clears his throat and squirms in his seat, letting his gaze wander over the bar, to the hearth, anywhere but towards you. The way you talk about him. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you had a crush on, or a crush or something. Kota lets out a bellowing laugh at that.
Good one, Mr. Josh.
He shakes his head, making a show of wiping away a tear of mirth.
I needed that, honestly. I think Luke might have gotten to you a bit too much.
You frown. You weren't that far out of line, were you?
Yes, my brother was a handsome man. He certainly had enough admirers in the village. But there was nothing at all shameful in acknowledging another man's looks, now is there?
No, I guess not. At least the dragon clears his throat.
So, does any of that sound familiar?
I'm sorry, but not at all. It might be easier if I had more concrete physical description, but...
Well, there we come to the problem. It's been so long since I've seen him that
tension gathers in Kota's shoulders as the rhythm of his claws tapping grows faster. Thinking quick, you latch onto another, hopefully more pleasant topic. So, your shrine used to brew sake? All the tension rushes out of him. He glances towards you, and you can see a smile bloom of gratitude in both his eyes and his smile.
That's right. The best sake in the region. Far better than even the local, shochu. We made sure of that.
Wouldn't think you'd find a brewery in such a holy place. How do you guys do it?
Well, you see.
For the next 20 minutes or so, Kota tells you all about the sake production of his shrine. How the river feeds into the fertile paddies, and how its water, cool, distills so perfectly. When the time comes to to go your separate ways. He gives you a half distracted bow before rushing off, keeping his gaze averted. Okay, let's check in on the R&D team. The R&D team made some progress, but no project was completed. Let's check in on the exploration team. Your team found 3 raw material. Okay, so I will need to do that. Oh, it looks like you found something else. You encountered a tiny goatskin-bound notebook containing handwritten poetry. You can read it by opening the files in the menu. After sunset, Asterion went off to the rooftop. He did not outright say it, but he requires privacy to ruminate on the contracts he signed a few nights ago. You provided him with all the alone time required. Later, you found Luke by the hearth, chatting with a haggard bunch of guests about his personal misadventures. Their clothes had seen better days. None of them shared a language or origin. All grasped cups overflowing with sweet beverages in their shaking hands. Unshackled by the laws of the outside world, Luke evangelized about the mythical beings, their tales, and magic. The guests tightened their grip on their mugs. Magic, fantasy, and the hearth kindled their wary hearts. Food and drink healed their bodies. And Luke's unyielding, screeching laughter, as pleasant as it sounded, planted within a dream of prosperity, dignity, and bounty. Okay. I mean, that looks all good. Where's the files, though? Is it in the mementos? Yeah. Oh, that's long. What? Oh, no. Okay. Goat skin bound notebook. Yes, we got, yeah. Let's go. A tiny notebook, a tad smaller than a human's hand. The same poem is written in its pages a dozen times, with diminutive variations over each version. At the end, there is one final scrawl, different from all the others. The handwriting is poor and cramped. Chorigos got there. A grain of sand has led my mind far back, wherever memory could choke my throat or blind my sight. I'm helpless before her, too open in mind, too keen to recall, and problem imprints eidetically there wherever it can. A hug can be found in mind, but below leaves tender bruises, scars, the ugliest scars of distrusting friends, of you. Oh no, my phone's not on me. Wait, I have a computer in front of me. Got there. We'll move this window. How do you... Oh no, where was I? Ulterior? I don't know this word.
Ulterior.
I don't know how well you could hear that, because that sounded really soft. But...
Ulterior.
Ulterior. Okay. I got there. Existing beyond what is obvious or admitted. Cool. Suspicion all based on offhand ribs, ignorant slights, and jolts. The other half forgot. If only I had not this stone shore trap between my horns. I can't help but I hate my position. Oh, lone patriot of tense me. Fuck. A goddess. Well, tell me how it's pronounced. It's not worth it. What nonsense. A bland indulgence, whining in. It's all cemented in what's light just froth and floats up over top. Bottom stagnant and suffocating. Still, the caustic rot bears not a use. It raises none like yeast, or delight like drunkenness. Why keep on? Just stop. This endeavor just escapes you. A thicker skin is necessary, but perhaps with fewer gatekeepers to track who earned their self-esteem already. Then more would get strength and grit, and earnest self-sufficiency. It takes only one time, one rightly placed below hobbles the balance. No strength is gained from carven expose and tested jabs when wounds are open, sore and bleeding still. A Coagulant. Okay. A substance that causes blood or other liquid to
Coagulant.
Cool. Or astringent tonic needed. No friction. Bloodletting. Bones reset and bound. A toxic applies in therapeutic doses. The hope is hypertrophy. But not yet, but soon. What nonsense, bland indulgence, whining, and a pace that functions, lasts and grows more strength, elusive is. That's all that's simple here. What growth not stymied, tortures by its raised by just as close as possible a source. A mother's madness inherited here. Just stop. This endeavor just escapes you. I know I offer precious little, but what little offered precious is, I hope. Okay. Was this one of the... yeah, okay. Oh dear, that's a lot. I didn't read any of this, did I? Okay. Cool. Back? Okay, where thing. That's interesting. I can probably do one more. We'll have it not like stop at 20 minutes this time. Let's do one more adventure with oh my god, they're back! Little friends. Kodu is back in his customary place in front of the hearth today, and seems to have gathered a little retinue around him. The kobolds press in close, chirping like birds in excitement. The chubby one sits on the floor at Kota's feet, while the lighter-scaled boy sits on the dragon's knees. The third, meanwhile, hangs over the back of the chair, with its arms slung around Kota's neck. You can't help but smile at the display. Kota looks for all the world like a doting father figure or a grandfather for the boys. Hey there, what's going on over here? The kobolds got quiet down at the sound of your voice, peering up at you with open curiosity. Kota, for his part, gives you a nod and a smile, the former jerky and strained, the latter stiff.
Greetings, Mr. Josh. I was just entertaining these little ones for a short while. They've been a little, restless as of late, so I thought they'd, like to hear a few stories.
He lowers his voice to the, conspiratorial whisper, by the trio's giggling. However, you can tell it's more for show than anything.
Something to keep them occupied and out of trouble for the time being.
Got it. Would you mind if I joined you guys for a while?
Not at all. Please, pull up a chair. I was just telling them of my stay in what was at the time part of Prussia.
You do so, and taking a seat across from the dragon and his squirmy entourage. Right. You did say you've been all over the old world too. Is that where you heard about kobolds?
That's precisely right. There was a little enclave of them in the mines around that area. Not that one of these boys are from, of course, but they do recognize a few names I've mentioned.
You say you met this kobold enclave while you were there.
No, I did. The poor things were in a very sorry state when I found them. Apparently, their mine had been established under the supervision of a local dragon way back in the Middle Ages. He, however, has been slain long ago, but they'd kept their toil going for all that time. When the humans established their mines, well, it caused some unfortunate conflict with the magical residents. Accidents, cave-ins, rock slides, any misfortune which befell them was attributed to the kobolds' pranks. Do you know the stories surrounding the discovery of kobolds? The metal?
Refresh my memory.
Well, in ore form, kobolds can look very much like copper or silver. It burns whoever handles it, however, and releases poisonous fumes when smelted. Even after the miners had offered all the gold and silver to placate the kobolds, they still continued to leave it all around the mines, tricking the humans with worthless and oftentimes dangerous cobalt ore. And it's not these little ones' faults. They can't help having bodily functions like everyone else.
What do you mean? What is it really?
Well.
He continues to hem and haw, stroking through his beard.
I'd rather not say, if you don't mind.
The part of the pair of thinner kobolds averts their gaze. Blush spreads across their snouts as they let out a shy, embarrassed squeaks. The chubby one scratches himself, blithe as can be. You nod, clear your throat, and are quick to change the subject. So, local dragon. A local dragon? I guess you mean the kind that hoards gold and captures princesses, right? They're real too.
Are you surprised?
Well, I guess I shouldn't be at this point.
And, well, yes, there are many stories about the western breed of dragon. Doing those things, far different from eastern kind, like myself and Onsen, I assure you.
I guess that explains the mining operation. Are you being, different, from their former employer? Wait. and you being different from their former employer didn't cause any problems.
Not at all. Even with our differences, breeding, I suppose you could call it, kobolds can recognize a dragon, and are very eager to please when they do. According to the little ones I spoke to, kobolds are the distant progeny of dragons, and so worship them in gratitude for giving life to the kobold race. Though I have no intention of enforcing such attitude with these boys, of course.
You watch as Coda pets the kobold sitting on his lap, fingers scratching at the base of the little one's horns. The kobold lets out a quiet purr, leaning into the dragon's hand. I see. You hum, mulling over your thoughts for a moment. If you don't mind me saying, and I'm sorry if I'm assuming, it sounds like you thought they could give you a lead on Onsen. If they respect and can recognize dragons, then, well, who else would be better to ask than when you're looking for a dragon?
You are assuming correct. I thought that if...
All of a sudden, Coda jerks upright, one hand going to secure the kobold's hanging off his neck, while the other steadies the boy in his lap.
Heavens, is that the time? Forgive me, Mr. Josh, but it seems my break is over.
Despite the kobold's protest, Coda scoots them aside and hauls himself to his feet.
Come now, no complaining. How about this? I'll tell you two a bedtime story tonight, alright?
The trio chirps in consideration of the proposal, sharing a few wordless glances between themselves. At least they deem it an acceptable compromise. The chubby boy takes Kota's left hand, while the lighter scaled one trots over to take the dragon's right. Kota's impromptu scarf, meanwhile, clings all the tighter on his shoulders and neck. The kobold whimper out a plea to stay where he is.
That of course
sparks an argument between the three. It's not fair that one should get to ride Sir Dragon all day, and the others are clamoring for their turn. Coda gives you a long, suffering look, and even an ever-patient smile, while he herds his little retinue out of the lounge. He leaves you there by the hearth, still contemplating all you've been able to glean. Okay. Check in on the R&D team. No project was completed. Let's check in on the exploration team. They didn't find any What the fuck, Luke? Other than that, your exploration team didn't make any big discoveries. I'll end the part here, so I'll see you around, everyone.